Oh. Okay.
It's
You had it to where it was for them.
There we go.
Something is.
There we go. Thank you for your patience. This is Rita Thomas. I'm your funnel godmother. I am here today with the Knoxville Business Growth Collaborative. And today our subject is productivity hacks using ergonomics and Feng Shui for business success. We have two different presenters today, and we're going to just jump right in with the ergonomics with John Gear from A to Z Office Resources. So John is here in the back of the room, and he is going to start telling us how we can get a lot of work done without causing injury and strain and fatigue on our body. So thank you for being here, John.
Thank you. So like she said, my name is John Gear, and I'm the Senior Account Manager for A to Z Office Resource. Yes. Yes. So everybody thinks Office Resource, what do we do? So we sell office supplies. We also have another division called West Business Interiors, and we sell office furniture, everything from simple chairs to complete office buildings. For instance, if some of you have heard of a building over in Nashville called Nissan, we've done that. That's just one of them. We're working on Smith & Wesson down in Maryville. We're trying to do some of the remodels down there. I'm working on a lawyer's office right now, complete with chairs, partitions, the whole shoot match. So I also own a company called Gearheads Facility Services, and we're a commercial cleaning company. Why does that tie in? Because I walk into offices all the time, and I get to see whether or not they're clean, orderly, crap thrown all over the place, which is usually the case. So when Rita asked me to do this, I walked into our conference room, and we've got, probably 30 chairs in there, and I was looking at them. And one of the first things you want to do when you are in an office situation is make sure you get a chair that is comfortable. And like my office chair is 10 years old, and I paid $100 for it, and it's not comfortable at all. That's my chair at my home office. My chair at A to Z office is probably $1,000, and it will do everything I want it to do, but was afraid to ask. So this is one of the most ergonomical chairs around. It's actually called the Ergo Human. And what you want to look for in a chair is a couple things. Number one, it's completely adjustable. It's not adjusting for me like it's supposed to. But you've got the arms will turn in and out. The seat will go up and down. And one of the things they talk about is you want to have just enough room behind your knees from the actual seating, from when you're sitting in the chair. And that will help you feel comfortable. It also will stop issues with your legs. Raise it up so you're comfortable. Since we got Dr. C here, he'll probably tell you that having a good posture in an office chair is going to be very important. And when you sit down at your desk, you want to make sure that your hands, like for me, I can raise them up and I can actually rest my hands on the armrests and type, which is really nice. The other thing that's nice to do occasionally is to lean back, prop your feet up on the desk, and kick back and have a cup of coffee and wonder why you're at your job. Why am I not down in the Caribbean somewhere? So this chair has got about 7 different variations. One of those will actually determine whether or not you can go recline back and how far you can recline back. This little chair is by far the most popular. This is called a Han ignition chair. For those of you keeping track, this chair retails for $1,100. I can sell it to you for about $325. But it's got very quick. You can change the position of the chair. The seat will actually go up and down, and I'm not sitting in it. It's got several different variations underneath here for adjusting. And then the most popular is the arms. And if I can get to it, the arms will actually, no, this is the ignition, not the other version of this chair. The arms will actually slide out. And so that way If you come back from lunch and you've been at a Chinese buffet and you feel fat, you can sit down and you can actually move the arms out so you don't have that problem. But the one thing you want to look for in a chair is you want to make sure it's completely adjustable, and get in it and play with it and figure out what works and what doesn't work for you. Ooh, that feels better. One of the other probably the most popular accessory that we sell right now. How many of you ever heard of a Very Desk? So yep,
Yeah.
several different models. I highly recommend getting one model that actually has a push button underneath it and will raise and lower it. Those are extremely popular. And once again, going back to ergonomics, one of the things that we try to tell everybody when we sell these chairs is sometimes you just have to get up and stand up. Don't sit in the chair too long for a couple other reasons other than just your back will hurt and your legs will hurt, but it's actually not good for you. Gaming people, you're starting to see a lot of them with blood clots in the back of their legs because they sit too long in a gaming chair. My brother-in-law, who's a huge gamer, he sits all day for his job, comes home, sits down. He's got a beautiful gaming chair, but sits down in the gaming chair for about 4 hours. And then he found out that he had blood clots right behind his knee. And it was because he was sitting too long. He wasn't getting up and moving. He's also 6'5". So get up and move around. The Very Desk, there's 2 different versions. And if you look at the A to Z catalog, I think it's on page 78. They're very simple. Let's see if I remember. Nope, 74. You'll see a couple different configurations with the Very Desk. They're very simple. 74. Oh, that's it. Here, you got the wrong catalog, the A to Z catalog. But like those right there. They can go into a traditional, it looks like looks like a regular table. You can have it in L shape, but it's just a push button and it will raise and lower the chair or the tabletop. If you don't want to spend the money on that, there's one that is a tabletop version. And what that means is it basically just sits down on top of your desk. It's got a slide out keyboard. It's got 2 monitor pedestals, but you can push a button and it will raise and lower itself too. So you can be sitting at your desk and still use that. So you can still sit in one of these chairs or one of these chairs and still use that Very Desk. But if you want to stand up, my coworker Jeff Bird does it all the time. He'll stand up and raise it up and sit there in the afternoon and type and add and stuff like that. One of the things that I do at my A to Z office is we've got not a Very Desk, but we've got a high top desk. And so occasionally I'll go out there. We have a Han chair that's a high top chair. It's like it would be sitting in, when I say high top, think of going to a bar or a restaurant and sitting at the bar or whatever. And it does everything that this chair does. It just happens to sit that high. It's 42 inches. And so it will sit up. And so I can sit there and I look out the front window and I'm raised up. That's nice for me because I'm tall and I like to be able to stand up. And I can't stand up and work. I don't feel comfortable doing that, but I can sit in a bar stool basically and work. And that makes me happy.
You want questions at the end or?
No, questions anytime.
Throw them right out. So my question about the Very Desk.
Uh-huh.
Because I already have a desk. Is my desk is already plenty high enough for ergonomics for my arms. And then if I put the Very Desk on it with the keyboard, it's even higher.
Raise the chair.
Just raise the chair. And or get that taller chair.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
One of the most important things that I recommend too, no offense, but for the vertically challenged individuals,
Right.
get a footstool underneath the desk so you have a place to prop your feet. You'll see this in the notes. There's actually a box there or a wedge there. I have that in my office. I've got a wedge underneath where I can prop my feet up on it. And that helps with your strain and your back issues and leg issues and all that. Once again, as they talk about this, and you'll see some, switch up your scenery, take a break, get up, walk around. I don't like to sit still for very long. And so I will get up and walk around and walk outside, do whatever. But that's very important to get your body moving before you sit back down into your office chair to figure out how your business is going or
Well,
whatever.
and it's, yeah, good for your
But-
process, yeah.
But once again, the other thing that we're starting to see a lot of too, you don't see, where'd it go? One thing you notice, this chair's mesh, and this chair's mesh. This chair's mesh. You know why they're getting away from leather on the backs or vinyl on the backs? It's because your back has a tendency to sweat, and that's not good. So everything, you'll see cloth seats like this one, cloth, but almost everything you're seeing nowadays, the backs are all mesh for breathability. And it's also for cleanliness. These are also Scotch guarded, so you can spill coffee on them and it'll come right up. But this chair, by the way, if you're taking notes, is about $900, but it will do everything. And if you want to take a look at it, feel free to jump on it, take a look at it. You got the little card back here so you can see everything that it will do.
So the importance of all these settings on the chair and the height of things, that directly correlates to injuries.
Injury and sheer comfort.
Mhm.
The problem with, how many of you have gone into a conference room and sat down in a chair and not like the way it sat?
Yeah, for sure.
I do it all the time. If you're around me too long and you watch me walk into, even this morning, I walked into a chamber meeting and I sat down and I was like, oh, this chair's crap. And you'll see me spin around because usually there's an adjustment.
Mhm.
And I'll sit there and I'll adjust the chair to my liking.
Mhm.
This one doesn't. I can't believe they don't have it. Oh, there we go. But every chair's got an adjustment. You just got to find it. So one of the things they actually talked about in all the research, especially for that chair that I was reading, is do take time to just lean back. And when you lean back, like I'm doing it right now and Gerald's doing, it will actually stretch your back. So that's also nice. But the very desk and having dual monitors along with the chair that will raise up and down, priceless. You can't beat them. And we sell them like crazy. The little office that we're doing, the cubicles we're not doing that for, but the lawyer, his business manager, and one of the other partners, they're all getting very desks and brand new chairs. And one of the guys, his chair is, he bought it when he graduated law school, so I think it's 23 years old.
And
He
leather.
goes, and leather. He goes, I think it's time for me to get a new chair. And I'm like, duh. So, but his chair will only tilt and go up and down, and that's it. And so the chair he's getting is not much different than this. It's one of a different version of this chair, but it'll do everything. And it's got a headrest. That's one thing he wanted, was the headrest.
And that's
So-
Very or Verti?
Very, V-A-R-I, very desks. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Thank you.
So what kind of budget are we talking about for a standing desk? And I know it varies.
So the tabletop model that puts you on the desk, we sell those right around $400. I think the retail is $700. The ones that you see in the catalog from Han, those are going to be about $800, and those are set up and that includes setup and delivery. That means we bring it to you, we set it up, we put it together, we make sure it works.
This. Now, but that, does that?
Not that particular one. The other ones. Now, when you start adding all the accessories to it,
Does this, it's just the lifting
just the
part?
desk. Yep, everything else is optional.
But it includes the rest of the desk as well?
Nope.
Oh,
just the
right,
desk.
just the lifting part.
Just the lifting part.
Yeah, okay, got it.
So if you were to come over to our office right now and walked in the back room, you would see 5 of those. And then we've had a really big run on office furniture. So there's all kinds of office furniture sitting in our back room right now, or a warehouse right now, getting ready to be delivered.
Well, and now that you mention it, that is the ideal way to buy something, especially for ergonomics, right? Instead of out of a magazine, if you can actually.
Mm-hmm. So like for the law firm that I'm doing, it's called Tennessee Tax Law. We walked in there with our designer. Her name is Jessica Tremmel. She's here in Knoxville. Works for West Business Interiors. We walked in and we sat down and we talked to them. What do you like? What do you dislike about what you've got? Very detailed about the chairs, because that was a big feature, and the desk itself. And so they told us what they liked and what they didn't like. So we came up with good, better, best options for them, and that's what they chose the middle option. Most people do. But the VariDesk, that is such a big popular thing right now. One thing that we even sell. How many of you have been to an office and seen the big ball sitting behind the desk when somebody sits on
Yes.
a ball?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of injuries because of that. A lot of people don't know that, but there's a lot of injuries. Dr. C's laughing because so falling off of it.
Okay.
Not having your balance.
It's not that the ball is bad for you. It's that
Yeah.
they don't know.
Using
Using it is bad. Yeah. So
No, well, I mean, actually using it, not falling off of it
It's fine.
is
it's
fine.
fine
Oh, okay,
if you
good.
can get to that point. But
Right.
a lot of people move quick. One of our customer service reps, her name's Shay, she's got one, and she went to sit down real quick and wasn't paying attention, and the ball flipped out from underneath her, and she hit the floor. And unfortunately, they were filming a video for the company, and so they got it all on film or video. So
Fortunately for you two,
yeah, exactly.
immediate sensation.
But you've got to be comfortable with what the biggest thing is be comfortable. And don't settle, just don't settle for anything. So make sure the chair fits you, make sure your feet are planted firmly on the ground. Yes, even you. So, and a lot of times what we can do is we'll actually put an addition to the chair on the bottom on the spindles, so your feet will sit on it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, because I'm still picturing, I've got this VariDesk on my desk at home already in my mind. And it's tall or taller. And so I would lift my chair up, but then my feet wouldn't be on the floor anymore. So I can get pedestals for my chair. Okay.
Yep.
They think of everything.
Well, look at it this way. You walk into a restaurant, you walk into a brewery, and you sit down at the bar stools. They usually have either a bar running along the bottom of the bar to keep your feet up there, or they have the pedestals or the bars on the chair itself. There's a reason for that.
You'll stay longer.
Well, you'll stay longer, but you'll be more comfortable. If you're comfortable, you'll eat and or drink more. You'd be surprised. So, and we sell outdoor furniture. So if you have an outdoor patio or if you have an outdoor workspace, there's not anything that we don't sell. This Han is our biggest supplier. My favorite is called Office Distributors, or OCD. And we can bring, if you want to see something, we can bring it in and let you see it, feel it, touch it, play with it. I got two VariDesks that are in that catalog right there. Two of those are sitting in the hallway, and I would have brought them, but they're extremely heavy. And I don't have a big enough car.
Okay.
I don't have a big enough car.
A VariDesk, how much weighs 100 pounds?
The tabletop one weighs 67 pounds, and those about 110.
Yeah. These, the Hans.
And they come either, you can put wheels on them too, wheels and wheel locks, so you can pick them up, you can roll them around if you need to. So once again, if you think it's probably been done.
So feel free to ask questions. I mean, I'm just,
Great questions. Well done.
yeah. He's making me think of more questions as we go.
But when we get done, play with the chairs, play with them.
Play with the
I mean,
chairs.
that's why I brought them.
And most time, as soon as someone says ergonomics to me, I think of wrist and elbow and shoulder and neck injuries if things aren't just right. And for example, I know at home, I can tell if I put my laptop on top of my desk and I'm typing on my laptop, it's about this angle, and I can feel it in my shoulders. And then I think, stop doing that, because I have the drawer with the keyboard underneath it. So then I have to remind myself to pull that drawer out and use that keyboard. And if you do these repetitive typing, repetitive reaching things, then you're going to need Dr. C. But actually, we need you anyway, don't we? Just for everyday life things. But when you know about ergonomics and you look at this is just a beautiful visual that John brought for us. The arms are straight.
Yes. So you
And
want
the
to have
wrist is also straight.
Yep.
So you don't want to be typing with your wrist bent like this or like this.
And what's the other bad thing? you want your monitor to be sitting up. That's why a lot of people will have laptops, but when they get to the office, they put it onto a docking station, have the two
Right.
big monitors.
So look
'Cause
where
you want to
the
keep looking up.
monitor is for her. So her eyes are straight, not looking down.
And those, the brackets for the monitors, we can get those all day. Those are cheap. We can get those all day long. We can get it for 1, 2, or 3 monitors. You can have it where we've got one where the monitor can go vertical versus horizontal.
That's nice.
And monitors are very inexpensive.
I know they used to
Yes.
cost, they were the
Yes.
big investment, you know?
Yeah,
The
and they're
monitor.
extremely light.
You mentioned something that is super important. I end up treating a lot of patients because of it, which is that their monitors set too low. It's either they think it's level with their eyes, it's typically not, and even level with the eyes is not correct. It should be 20 degrees above the horizon line. That's where you should be gazing. So if you're looking straight ahead, you still have to move it out.
How does
Yep.
someone measure 20 degrees though? So-
Horizon line,
If I'm looking at my monitor, I should have, you know,
a little level.
a little
A little
extra,
angle. Yeah, let's go up a little higher.
just, yeah. So just enough that your eyes have to move.
So
To
you
see the
sit
top
there,
of the
you
monitor.
Make sure your posture is correct. Okay, so you got your 90-90 going, right? 90 at the knees, 90 at the elbows. I got my slight chin tuck. I close my eyes, I just relax, and I let them just open. That's me, it's looking straight at the horizon line, and I just slightly up.
Okay.
I raise my eyes up about, if I was looking at the wall, in most rooms, you're gonna look up about 4 to 6 inches from where you're looking. Just look up 4 to 6 inches. That's where your monitor should be.
I love it. I love the actual practical, exactly do this. That's fantastic. Thank you. That's the kind of training we came here for. All right. So, John, let's talk about people who have a staff. Like I know Gerald has a staff and Dr. C might have a staff. And so if they buy the chairs from you, they invest in your solution, you come and teach people this, you show them the right.
That's one of the things that when Jessica and I walk in, and this is the 5th or 6th furniture deal we've done, but we walk in and we actually talk to the people that are going to be using them and find out how they're using it. And we look at the existing workspace, how are they going to change it, that kind of thing. Then we come up with a solution for them. And the solution is based on the individual needs. And, you know, cost is a big factor. Timing is a big factor. I can get you this chair within about 2 to 3 weeks. That chair is going to take 6. So there's an inventory issue too, how fast we can get the inventory. Because like there's a real estate agent that we're working with, he's buying 8 of these and he very specifically wants this color for the seat to be a specific color versus the back. And the back only comes in black, gray, or ecru. So we have to coordinate that and it's going to take longer. Whereas if we have it in what we call in the industry a quick ship program, if we've got it in quick ship, then we can get it within a couple weeks. And they ship, actually HANA is based on Iowa, so they ship from Iowa.
I love that, American made.
So not all of it, some of it's coming from Canada. So,
American assembled.
yeah. But when we get it, like the first part of the law office that we're working on, it actually hits, bless you, it hits tomorrow and it will be drop shipped by the tractor trailer. And then our guys will meet the tractor trailer and they bring it in, drop it into the office, and our guys walk in and put the whole thing together. And then we make sure that every office person that's going to get the chair, and we're only doing a part of it tomorrow, that they know how the chair works.
You see, I know this sets you apart from, let's say, ordering from Amazon, because nobody is going to do that for you if you order from Amazon or any other online. But are you?
You order this chair from Amazon, it's going to come in a tiny little box, and you're going to open it up, and you're going to go, "What the frack? How do I put it together?"
Right?
Yeah.
Some assembly required.
Yeah, you order it from us. We build it in the back room. We build it in our warehouse, and we've got a guy named Chris Carr who's outstanding, and he builds it, shrink wraps it, puts it on the truck, and then delivers it to you and takes the shrink wrap off. So, and if there's any problem with the chair, we know it before we ever deliver it.
Nice.
And
yeah.
he actually builds in just a little bit of time in case there is a problem. And that's not just chairs. That's the same with everything that we do. we see it before it ever gets delivered. So it comes, except for like toilet paper, we don't see those boxes. But
So you
um,
use this concierge delivery service and you cost less than getting it somewhere.
yes, I looked at this chair at a local office supply company here in town that has a big box store, and they have a little red button. And this chair was $849. And I was like, oh, and so I took pictures of it and I sent it to the client that wanted it. And I said, just so you know, because you mentioned this is what the chair is going to cost you if you go to the local big box store. And I said, oh, and you got to put it together, because there was a sign, $50 assembly fee. And he goes, well, I don't want to do that. And I said, so would you rather have us do it? And we're going to be half. So, but, and once again, this is the ignition. There's also a Han Convergence, which is very similar to this. These are by far the most popular.
So does A to Z Office Resources do any line of credit for business owners?
Yeah. Yeah, trust me, law office is getting a lot of credit because they got to come up with, they got to pay a down payment, but their whole office job is $20,000+.
Mhm. But for someone in this room, though,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So we sign you up. How we do it? They call it a credit application. We're trying to get away from that term credit, but you sign it. I sign you up. I send it off. You immediately get a line of credit right off the bat. We will ask for a credit card backup just in case, but it's your net 30. So
Nice.
and every time you order from us, you'll get the invoice within a day or two. So you can determine whether or not you want to pay it right then and there. We've got one gentleman who has ordered a lot, and he didn't think he was going to order a lot from us, but he's ordered a lot, and he gets the invoice, immediately turns around and pays it, because he'll call me up. Hey, I just got the invoice. Can I go ahead and pay it? It's like, did you even get the printer yet? So, and we do.
Best client.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Can I pay you right now?
Unlike we've got a government agency that owes us a couple $1 million.
Yes.
But so we work, I mean, you get me. So and I get phone calls all the time and emails, and I got customers text messaging me. So you get me, and so I'll set you up. That's my favorite. You're on my favorite page. You just passed it. All the outdoor furniture. So
You're not allowed to say anything about outdoor furniture, Michelle.
oh, I'm going to say something about outdoor furniture.
So cute.
We're about to be in the market.
So for the fire pit that you have for your employees to gather around at work, that's a business expense, the outdoor furniture.
Everything's a business expense.
John, I can't thank you enough but we still have more time for questions for John, or questions about ergonomics. And
Take this chair with me.
right, so yeah, people are here in the room are picking out which chair they want to just take home with them, get their line of credit started. John's like, yeah, great, I don't have to take it back.
Give me your business card. I will send you the application. We'll get you hooked up this afternoon, and we can have it delivered in 2 weeks. So
Awesome.
How long do the desks last? Do they ever break down?
well, if you stand on it and try to, dance on it, then yeah, they'll probably break. But no, they are so heavy. I mean, 67 pounds is a heavy desk.
The electrical stuff.
I have yet to see one, and we've got 2 in our warehouse or in our office that we use. Jeff uses one, and Jeff's desk is 7 or 8 years old, and it's still fine. The other 2, we use them for when we do events at the open house and stuff like that, and they have yet.
No problems, no issues.
There's not a lot of moving parts to it. That helps. It's just it's fairly simple when you look at the mechanics of it.
So I have a 2-part question. I was going to first ask, is it hydraulic or electric? But also, I bet there's electric. You can plug it in, and then you have power right there on your desk for your stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so when you're talking about, and this is kind of off the ergonomic part of it, but more on the feng shui part of it, how many times have you wanted to do something or put a desk somewhere because it feels right,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no outlets?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
guess what? We can fix that. So the office that we're doing, They don't have any outlets in the middle of the room where they want to have all the cubicles
Okay.
because of, as the office manager said, this is how we want. They actually turned how they wanted everything to do because they wanted to be able to have the window there
Mhm.
so they could look out. I completely agree with that. I have to have a window to look out. They're like, what are we going to do about power? Well, I'm standing there, I look up at the ceiling and I'm like, well, drop it. And so we are actually going into the ceiling and dropping the power right down to the center of the pedestal.
Fantastic.
And then each pedestal has either 3 or 4 outlets on the bottom based on what they decided, and then one on the top. And so a lot of times you'll see stuff like that.
Right.
And that'll be on the corner. Those very desks, this sits on the corner, on one of the corners.
Sweet. I love it.
Because you want to be able to get to it fast, especially if you're working off of a laptop. You want to be able to get to it quick. So.
Exactly. And let me see if there's any questions in the chat. There's something in the chat.
Do you recommend the little foot thing even if your feet do touch the ground?
Yes.
So it's still good just to have even like a little.
Like I said, I'm 6'1" and I've got one underneath my desk.
Look at her sitting so straight. Did you
I noticed-
She's not moved. She's been in like the perfect.
Her back is
She's like,
perfect.
this girl will not take a bad picture of me. I'm shoulders, no blinking.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Like, move, do something. But so
Perfect posture.
yeah.
She must have one of these chairs. Perfect posture.
Mhm.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that's a Latin American upbringing.
Oh, okay. Good. That's good to know. Well, all right. Any more questions for John? Because we have more exciting stuff to come from
This is in which category?
Morning.
that is in the
Um,
Alera catalog, and then this one is in the Han catalog. So,
okay. So you need to just take them both home.
yeah. And I've got, if you want more information, I can send it to you. I can send you specific stuff too. So you just, and if you see something online, take a picture of it and send it to me.
So for the audience at home, John has been talking about this. This is the A to Z office catalog, and we were looking at the Han desk. This whole entire top lifts up, and this is another one here. And then the very desks they sit directly on top of your desk and lift from there. And then the chairs.
You can see me rocking.
Yeah. One chair is in this catalog and one chair is in this Alera catalog. But John can just hook you up and we'll put his information in the chat. And put in the chat if you have any questions about ergonomics, because we'll still be here answering more questions after the Feng Shui presentation. We're going to move on to that right now. Okay, so I'm going to, I have your, let's mute.
And you can just reach behind it and push the back. And it'll go up or down, and the headrest. So, so like lean back. No, lean back. That. So.
I'm thinking of editing pictures.
That's what I was saying. I said I'm out so many hours. There's definitely times where like I have to get up.
All right, you want me to
sitting
put
here
that
for
first slide?
5 hours.
Or do you want to introduce yourself? So this is the, the camera over here. There we go. So you're in the very edge of it. We'll get you and the audience.
Cool.
And you have your turn on.
Yes.
All right, so I'll let you talk first and then I'll bring up your slides.
Okay, so my name is Moni Castaneda, and I'm a Feng Shui consultant, speaker, and author. I was born and raised in Ecuador, which is a small town in South America, and I have lived in the United States almost 30 years. And I'm going to share my presentation with you about Feng Shui for business. I have a degree in architecture in Ecuador. When I moved to the United States, I found out my 6-year degree was worth nothing here, which was pretty shocking, right? But my training in architecture gave me the ability to understand Feng Shui in a way that I would never have been able to understand it, because Feng Shui has kind of been corrupted over the years. And today, most of the time, if you go online to search for Feng Shui, the information that you are going to find is not going to be good. And I'll explain more about that. How do we get the presentation on?
Here we go. Okay, so now try that.
So then we just do them. So how do we,
I will push that.
you'll push them for me?
Mhm.
Okay, so the Feng Shui advantage. This is a Feng Shui business masterclass. Feng Shui is thousands of years old, about 4,000 years old, but it has only been in the West for about 50 years. And the way it came to the West, it was British CEOs. In the 1970s, a lot of British CEOs were sent to work in Hong Kong, and they got introduced to Feng Shui in Hong Kong. When they went back to the UK, they brought the Feng Shui consultants with them because they had seen the results that they had, and they wanted the same results in their offices, their buildings in the UK. That's how it came to the West. That's pretty neat, right? The Fortune 500 companies today, about 70% of them use Feng Shui. So a lot of people may not talk about Feng Shui, about the benefits of Feng Shui, but they are using Feng Shui. Next, yes. So Feng Shui means wind and water. And so Feng, wind, Shui, water. And these are the representations of the forces that move the world. Water is there to represent the things that happen in society. For example, the things that the market is doing, finances, the things that politicians are doing, all those things are represented by water. And the Feng, the wind, it represents greater forces. And this could be, for example, like the collective conscious of humanity and where humanity wants to get, and the global issues that are happening. So Feng Shui, wind and water is the global issues and your local issues. When you start a business, not yet, go back. When you start a business, you have a choice. So one of those choices is next, you can do a franchise, right? And one of the most famous franchises in the world is McDonald's. When you get a franchise, it could be McDonald's, Burger King, Subway. It could be any kind of business, not just the food industry, right? But when you buy a franchise, they give you everything. They give you the logo, they give you the slogans, the name, and they tell you what to do inside and outside the store, right? If you buy a franchise, you don't have to worry about how to place the furniture, how to choose the furniture, what colors to use, what to put on the walls. They give you everything. Next. So when you are a mom and pop business, for example, if you decide to open a restaurant because you're just so good, just such a good cook, you want to share your skills with the world, you open a restaurant, you have to make every decision yourself. What are you going to call your business? What kind of furniture are you going to get? What are going to be the colors? What's going to be your logo? What are going to be your slogans? Next one. Do you notice something in this picture? Is there something that calls your attention?
Yellow.
Yeah?
The height,
Yeah. Is there any business that you can recognize here?
no.
Let me show it to you.
McDonald's.
Oh, so is that
It's actually Arches. That's Arches, but it looks like a McDonald's, right? And so when they chose their logo, they chose a logo that is very recognizable. Whenever you go any place,
I
you
actually
spot.
was going, why is those McDonald's arches so low? When
Right.
they're so high, so I was like, there's some tricks to get them.
And so there's something that you get when you get a franchise. You get the kind of recognition you're not going to get as an individual business. So the next one. So Feng Shui is about being in harmony with your environment and about making your environment work for you. The spaces you work in are working for you or they're working against you, but they're never neutral. Feng Shui is the engine that has powered Asian businesses for thousands of years. They have been doing this for a very, very long time, and they know what to do. So let's talk about businesses run from home, right? If you want to run a business from home, one of your choices, we're still talking about choices, is that you can join a multi-level marketing company. And that company is also going to give you, they're going to give you the brochures, the postcards, the logo, the t-shirts to wear. They're going to give you the scripts. Everything is going to be pre-thought for you. So as an individual business owner, you're at a disadvantage when compared to franchises or when compared to multi-level marketing. And many times, if you're a solopreneur, your business looks like that. It's you and a laptop at home, right? And when it's you and a laptop at home, your competitors are not the people in your town that do the same thing as you do. Your competitors are your family and the house, because they're the ones that are competing for your attention. We were just talking about that earlier, right? And so when you're home and you need to sit down and work on a presentation, but the kitchen floor needs mopping, the kitchen floor wins if you're not working with Feng Shui. So Feng Shui is about making you work with the space for the advantage of your business. So as I was telling you before, I got a degree in architecture. I have been practicing Feng Shui for over 20 years. I use my knowledge of architecture to actually decode Feng Shui and make it into something that we can use effectively, especially without having to change your belief system. So you see the globe over there, that little dot? That's the country of Ecuador. It's right on the equator. That's where I was born and raised. So it's between Colombia and Peru. The little bitty country is the size of Colorado. And we have the Amazon basin on one side, the beaches on the Pacific on the other side. In between those, the Andes Mountains. And I was born in the Andes Mountains. When you are on the equator and you are over 9,000 feet above sea level, the world doesn't work the way books tell you it's going to work. For example, you have 4 seasons. The days, daylight savings wouldn't make any sense because sunrise is at 6 a.m., sunset is at 6 p.m. year long. So all of the things that when I was a child was learning all these things in school, and I was very skeptical because what I read, what I learned, didn't match my universe. The boxes on, for example, if I want to make some pasta and I try to follow the instructions on the box, they wouldn't work for me. Have you ever heard about, like, if you live in Colorado, like in Boulder, Colorado, your boxes have instructions for high altitude? Well, our boxes didn't have that. And so I was like, I'm learning all these things about the world in school, and they don't match my reality. Then I moved to Mississippi. Marco, my husband, he used to be a casino dealer on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Then I didn't want to cross the bridge to go see the chiropractor. So I decided he should become a chiropractor because I had to cross a bridge on an interstate and there was a lot of traffic. So I thought he should become a chiropractor. In order to do that, we moved to Iowa. We lived in Iowa for 5 years. There's where we had our 2 babies. We say they're children of the corn because they were born in Iowa. And then, once he graduated, we moved to Tennessee. Now, in Ecuador, I learned architecture. In Mississippi, I was introduced to Feng Shui. I had a thriving practice in Mississippi. Whenever I went to see a client and I came home, back then, cell phones were bricks that the charge lasted 20 minutes, so you would carry them in the car and only turn them on for emergencies. And so when I came home, that answering machine would be blinking with all the referrals. Then we moved to Iowa, and in Iowa, farmer mentality, they were not interested in hiring me, they were interested in learning. So in Iowa, I taught classes. Out of the classes, I got clients. When I moved to Tennessee, it was a different story. People in Tennessee were hostile to Feng Shui. They didn't want to have anything to do with Feng Shui. When I first came, because I used to, in Iowa, I used to teach classes for the community college. And so when I came here, I called the universities here and asked, do you have community education programs? They hung up the phone on me. So I decided I'm going to start an online business. And most of my business today is online. Most of my clients, like last year, 70% of my clients were in California, Australia, or London. So we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, right? But first, let me tell you. So my husband and I, we moved here, and we decided to homeschool, which was one of the best decisions we made, right? And so I was having my business on the side, my online business, and I was homeschooling the kids. And every year, in the summer, we'd ask the question, can we still give them a better education at home than if we send them to school? So one year, the answer was no, not anymore, because of the classes they wanted to take, his time was limited. And so we decided we're going to send them to public school. So one thing that happened to me is I had these expectations of everything I'm going to do once I have the freedom to do whatever I want with my time. And what happened is I found myself being bored. And boredom is the first step to trouble. And so the elephant in the room is, that's good. Can a Christian do feng shui? And that is the reason people hung up the phone on me, because when I moved here to Tennessee, there was already somebody practicing feng shui here that practices a type of feng shui that, in my opinion, is very superstitious. They talk about the compass directions, they use astrology, they use numerology. And there was another practitioner of feng shui here that does something called this black hat school feng shui, which is actually tantric Buddhist type of feng shui. So that's also in my mind, that was not going to be okay with people of any faith. And I wanted to be able to work with people of any faith. So when I taught my first class in Iowa at the Scott Community College, I walk in and there's a Muslim woman in the audience. And she was wearing, their traditional clothing and stuff. And I was surprised because I think I had misconceptions about what it is to be a Muslim. And I thought they wouldn't be okay with feng shui. And it turned out they were very much okay with feng shui. But feng shui the way I practice it, right? Because they're also not cool with astrology or numerology or things like that. And so I also had some followers, because I already was doing things online that were Jewish. And I was thinking, I want to do something that appeals to people of any faith. Actually, there's some, in Jewish culture, there's something kind of like feng shui. I thought that, that was very interesting because I meet so many people because my business is online, I actually learned that, which is interesting. So I went back to the source of feng shui, which is the same principles as you see in acupuncture, qigong, martial arts. So all the branches of ancient East Asian medicine. And so I went back and created a system to practice feng shui, which is called the 9 Steps to Feng Shui system, that is based on the principles of ancient East Asian medicine, and that anybody can practice without fear of challenging their beliefs or their belief system or their religion. Next slide. So I have a YouTube channel, a website, a blog, and a training website. My YouTube channel for several years in a row has been listed among the top 9 for the whole world. My website and blog, top 9 for the whole world. My training website, because I teach feng shui classes, top 5 for the whole world. And we have had over 1 million visitors. And the reason we're so popular is because we offer this alternative for feng shui that is superstition-free. Next one. Feng shui principles can help balance your workspace and promote positive energy flow. When you have bad feng shui, you are going to repel clients, you're going to make clients leave quickly, and you're going to discourage referrals. When you have good feng shui, you're going to attract clients, you're going to make clients stay and shop longer, you're going to get clients excited to refer their friends to you. So the benefits for business is that you can improve the flow of positive energy and attract more clients, enhance productivity and boost employee morale, and reduce turnover and increase overall profitability. So every business, you agree with me, every business wants more clients, increased profits, and less turnover. Do you agree? Every business wants that? Right. Next one. So let's talk about more clients. No, go back. Everybody wants more clients, right? Because for most businesses, the most of the money you make comes from new clients. So for example, we're talking previously about ergonomics and selling furniture to businesses. When you get a new client that are going to remodel and they're going to just, like for example, if this bank was going to get chairs for the whole bank, that's a lot of orders. But once they become your client and they have made that first investment, the next year and the next year, you're not going to get as much money from them as a client because you already served most of their needs. Next one. So some businesses repel new clients. Let's talk about shop fronts. If a business doesn't tell you what it is, that you can see it from the street, that business is going to repel clients. Because even today with GPSs, you get on the car, you get in the car, turn on the GPS, you get to the business. If you can find their sign immediately, you may not go in. You may just go by. If the shop front doesn't show you where to park, If where to park is not obvious and the sign doesn't tell you where to park, you're going to lose business. So for example, if you're in a business like this, there's only street parking. You drive by, there's nowhere to park. If there's not a sign that tells you more parking on the back, you may just not stay. You may just go somewhere else. And so your business can repel clients by what you put on the shop front. So as I have said before, for more businesses, more money comes from new clients. You agree with me? Okay, next. So we're in this mentality that more clients equal more money because you increase income by increasing work. But what if you could have less clients and make more money, or the same number of clients and make more money? Because for a lot of businesses, especially if you're a solopreneur, if you work for yourself, one of the fears that you have is that if you get a lot more business, you're not going to have a life, right? And so what we do in Feng Shui is we help you attract more clients, but not the same clients that you have been attracting in many instances, but clients that are going to bring in more money. So go to the next one. Have you all seen that on Clinton Highway? You haven't seen it? You know, most people identify it immediately. Go back. It's a business called Earthscore, and she was one of my first clients when I moved to Knoxville. And so you can see here, you know, it says Earthscore, salt lamps, and turquoise, right? Those banners that you see there, the salt lamps and turquoise, she did that at my request. And I still remember how much it cost. Making those banners at the time cost $90. So before, she had banners over there that were advertising little trinkets that cost between $5 to $20. So her complaint was people come, you know, a lot of people stop because you got 25,000 people going down Clinton Highway every day. So plenty of people stop. But they were coming in to buy $5, $10, $20 trinkets. So I asked her, what are the things that you want to sell the most and that make you the most money? And she said salt lamps. She actually goes to the Himalayas and she mines the salt rocks herself. So that's a huge attraction, right? And the turquoise jewelry. So I told her, go back to the next one. Let's just make some banners, right? So she started getting people coming in to buy salt lamps and turquoise jewelry that range between $50 to $250. So she went from attracting people that will come in to buy $5 to $20 to getting people to spend $50 to $250 at her store. Her business skyrocketed. Now, if you take one of my business cards, you can go to my website and see Darlene's testimonial. She's doing so well. Go to the next one. So she's doing so well, she's going to start a new business. She's going to open a new business. And so, you know, she showed me her vision was to have something more attractive that would actually become a tourist attraction. So when people come to her store, they take selfies, they put it online, they recommend other people, and she shows up on lists of things to do in East Tennessee. So can you see how much the shop front can make a difference for your business? So do the next one.
That's all as a result of consequence of the Feng Shui.
Of the Feng Shui that we did, you know, because Feng Shui is not a woo-woo thing, you know, it's not a magic thing. It's about practical things that you can do. Your shop front is your billboard. How much does a billboard, does anybody know how much a billboard costs these days?
Thousands.
Maybe $10,000, $20,000. And so would you pay, say, $15,000 for a billboard and put a cat meme on it? No, right? Your shop front is a billboard. You shouldn't just arrange it to look cute. You should arrange it to make you money. So when you have a business, you're relying on Google Maps, your website, and social media to get you business, right? People are searching for things on Google and they find you. And if you have a website, they can see what you're about. In social media, if you share, if other people share about you, those are ways to find you. So modern Feng Shui, a modern Feng Shui consultant is going to look at what's happening with your Google searcher, your Google Maps, your website, and your social media. And we want to make sure, remember all those things that I told you, the franchise or the multi-level marketing business does for you? That's what I can do for you as an individual business. I can make sure that you have the right name, the right logo, the right website name. You know, sometimes people choose as their website name a really long hard to type thing, and they're like, why are people not coming to my website? And so we work to make sure that you have an identity, that you have a brand identity that you can be remembered by, and that people find it easy to refer you. So I'm going to show you a personal business thing. The curb appeal of your home is very important. Next one. So my husband, Dr. C, he is owner of Genesis Chiropractor, and he works from our home. You know why he works from our home? I don't know if he's ever told you. Right when he started his practice, that's when we had the Great Recession. And so we're like, what can we do? So we decided to convert our garage into living space, and he started practicing from our garage. And now he loves it, and he wouldn't have it any other way. But this is what our house looked like. So does that look to you like a business?
No.
That looks like a regular home. So if you put an address in the GPS and you get here, would you feel comfortable approaching?
Nope.
No, because what if you get the wrong door and everybody here, Second Amendment. So what if you go knock on the wrong door, right? You're going to lose business. Okay, next one. Now, would you approach this one? You have the chiropractic angel, because when you do home business occupation, you can't have a sign that is bigger than a foot in area. So we got the angel, we got the numbers really clear on the mailbox, we have big numbers on the column over there. So when you come here and somebody told you this is a business and it's a chiropractor, you're like, maybe, right? Maybe it's okay for me to approach, or for sure it is okay for me to approach. So if you have a shop front, we can help you get business through the billboard that your shop front should be. If you work from home, we can make sure that your home is approachable and that your potential clients or patients can find it easily. Now, if you work from home, no, there's another in between. So you could also work in a business district, but you don't have a shop front, right? So, for example, you have a suite and people have to go into a common parking lot. They have to go inside, take an elevator to find you. So that's a different situation. The next one. So when you don't have a shop front, you have to find ways that you can get people to your office and not get distracted, on the outside and stay shopping there instead of coming to you. The next one. When you go to them, and the next one, you may have a type of job like real estate agent that people don't come to you. You meet people in different places. Or you could be a personal fitness trainer that trains people in their homes. You may be going to them. So in that case, you may not want them to be able to find your house, right? You don't want your client to come knock the door at 5 a.m. and say, can you personal train me? But you're still going to have a website, you're still going to have social media, and then you have a vehicle. So then your vehicle becomes part of your feng shui. Your vehicle should be advertising what you do.
You need to put a tiara on top of your vehicle for that.
A tiara, yeah.
You gotta remember though, if you put your sign on a car, you better have it insured and registered as a commercial vehicle, because if you're involved in an accident, they'll sue you and the company. Or if you have it insured and a commercial plate, then they'll only go after the company.
Yeah, and there's, and I was gonna say that, it's also, you have to pay different taxes if it has to be a company vehicle. If you do a wrap, there's a whole lot of regulations you have to look at, right? But can you have a bumper sticker? Can you have a decal? Can you have something that is representative of your business, right? You can do that without getting in trouble.
No road rage.
Yeah, go on. Feng Shui also helps you have less employee turnover. There was in the news a story about this man that had purchased a few McDonald's franchises, and he was paying people when the average pay in his state was $10 an hour. He was paying them $15 an hour, and he was making more money than any of the other McDonald's stores in his state. He had figured out that how much money it cost him to train new employees was not worth paying the low fees, right? Because turnover is expensive. Every time that somebody you have trained, that you value, that you love, abandons you, means you have to get in a stranger, figure out who you can trust and give them the training, right? And so Feng Shui helps you have less employee turnover. And that is why, if you see, if you go to a Starbucks, people are going to wear a cap that has the logo. They're encouraged to wear all these pins and things on their vests because that creates an identity of the employee with the business, with the company. So you want to do that also as an independent business owner. No one wants to work just for money. You have to give people another reason to work for, right? And so, for example, do people just want to sell chairs? Maybe. But if they're going to sell chairs that is going to help somebody be more productive, is that more important? Yes. If in addition to them being more productive, it's going to save them from having back trouble or blood clots, like we heard earlier, of course. If you motivate people in the right way, they're going to want to stay with you and not just leave you because somebody offered them $1 more per hour. What if it's all you? What if you wear all the hats? Anybody here a solopreneur? Yeah, so you have to wear all your hats, right? So you have to go update your website, write your newsletter, send it out, clean the bathroom, mop the floors. Everything in your business has to be done by you. You have to be a tech expert. You have to know how to set up so you can do a live on YouTube or Facebook. All of these things that you need to do, you have to wear all these hats. Now, if you don't motivate yourself as if every hat was a different employee, a lot of things are not going to get done. So my husband, Marco, right, he loves adjusting people. He's a chiropractor. He doesn't love to do the billing. But if the billing doesn't get done, he doesn't get paid for adjusting people, right? So there's going to be things in your business that you love to do and things in your business that you don't like to do. So you can hire somebody else to do that. You can pay somebody by the hour. You can subcontract. But there's still things that you need to do as an individual. For example, PR is one of those things. Public relations is one of those things that from everybody that I have talked to, clients all over the world, they get better results when they do it personally than when they pay a company to do it for them. There's just something about your personality doing your own PR, right? And so you need to give yourself a reason to do these things. You need to give yourself a reason to go to the networking meeting if you don't like talking to people. Like you could be a massage therapist. You are wonderful about doing massages. You don't want to look somebody in the eyes and talk to them, right? But you still have to go to the networking meeting. You have to make friends, you have to make connections. So there's all these things you have to do. And so with Feng Shui, the way I do Feng Shui, we help you come up with that brand identity that you would only get by purchasing a franchise. But I help you get it right for yourself. Next. Everybody needs to have a sense of belonging, a sense of direction, and a sense of accomplishment. And you need to do that for every hat that you wear in your business. So what I was talking about before, I have a bumper sticker on my car with a QR code that people can scan and they can contact me. So whenever I go to the Whole Foods, whenever I go to the Costco, when I go to a Trader Joe's, when I go to the gym, I also wear a jacket with the name of my business, right? So at the very least, it's a conversation starter. If you have a kind of business where you go to people, it's even more important for you to use your car to advertise your business. So that's my card, that's my QR code. So you can take a picture of that, or you can take my cards over here, right? And Feng Shui can give you that advantage that you could only get by spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in different kinds of professionals or paying the large fees that you have to pay for a franchise. There's a lot of things that you can learn by going on Google or Pinterest. Have you guys ever learned anything on Google or Pinterest? Can you think of an example?
Pinterest makes me do a lot more projects at the house.
Pinterest costs me money because my wife does more projects at the house.
Yeah. But you can learn to do things, maybe you could learn how to decorate an Easter basket. Maybe you can learn how to do a floral arrangement.
My granddaughter's hair.
Yeah. There's so many things you can learn on Google or Pinterest these days, or TikTok. TikTok is a big one for learning now. You can do Feng Shui by doing Google or Pinterest because most of the information you're going to find on Feng Shui is wrong. It's wrong because there's a lot of superstitions attached to feng shui, but it's also wrong because there was an emperor in China that didn't want people to have access to feng shui other than his own clan. So he ordered the production of false books on feng shui. Can you believe? Can you believe the evil of a person? Actually hired people to publish wrong books on feng shui, and those are still in circulation. And schools of feng shui have been built over those books. So don't try to do feng shui from going to Google or Pinterest. Next one. Also, when you go online and you look for things, feng shui for business, for example, and you find these kinds of things, would that look good in your house? Would that look good in a Chinese restaurant? Yeah. Would that look good in a Vietnamese tech shop? Would that look good in a country style house? No. Would that look good in a contemporary house? Would that look good in a bank like this one? No. And so what we do in my business is we use art and decorations instead of trinkets that come from other cultures to do your feng shui. Next. So if you have a group that meets and you learn you learn things, you talk to people, invite me to talk to your group. You can also get my book, or you can book a consultation. I have written 12 and a half pounds of feng shui books. I took all my books and I jumped on a scale and it's 12 and a half pounds. This one is about 2 pounds. This is my Feng Shui for Business encyclopedia. It has 403 pages. You can read all of this. It's like a manual, right? You can read all of these and try and figure out what applies to your business, or you can hire me. But don't try to do it on Google or Pinterest. And do we have another one? So that's the book, 403 pages. And before we finish, that's the last slide. Yeah? So grab on your 2025 catalog. You'll have one of these, right? So I want you to go to page 24. Can we?
Here, I'll drop this.
Yes. So on page 24, you see the layout of a classic home office library, where you have the bookcase at the back and then you have the desk, right? That is the correct feng shui. That has good feng shui. Then let's go to, let me show you here. So the classic library where you have the bookcase or the credenza at the back, and then you have your desk, and you work on your desk, and you're able to see your whole office. You have command of the room. Now let's move on to page 33. This is a more modern version of the same concept, where you have a piece of furniture behind you, then you have your hopefully ergonomic desk, and then you have your desk and you have your computer there. That's the right way to work. Now move on to page 44. What do you see on page 44?
You're looking at a corner.
Oh, I see that.
The corner office, the corner office desk, right? This is the worst feng shui possible.
Okay.
I never met somebody who bought a corner desk and then did not regret it. Because when you have a corner desk, you put your computer in the corner and you don't have the command of the room. Like if you put a computer over there, you go work. Part of your mind is always trying to guess what's going on in the room or what's going on in the rest of the office or in the rest of the house by the sounds, the smells, and your other perceptions, not your eyes. So to be feng shui correct, you need to be able to see the room, to have command of the room, but you should not be in the path of the door. Being in the path of the door will make you distracted. So feng shui is so effective. Feng shui works because it's common sense. Most of feng shui is just common sense. How to arrange your furniture so that you can be more productive. What to do in cases where you have to have a shared space where your husband wants to watch TV and you need to be there working. And how to arrange your bedroom so that you have the best rest. What to do in your dining room so you actually use it right? And before I leave, I'm gonna before I end this, let me get away from the topic of Feng Shui for business just for a minute, because I always say this in every single presentation, or I try to. Why do you go to a bar? Socialize,
To drink.
to drink alcohol. Do you go to the bar with your kids and partner?
Sometimes, I mean, not.
To the
I never
bar?
take-
Like a brewery,
I
but.
never take the kids, because kids are supposed to be in a bar. That's just wrong.
Right.
Exactly, right? And so why do you eat at home like you're at a bar? Why do you have your meals at a bar, sitting on stools that are bar stools, instead of properly sitting at a table, sitting on chairs? Or you do it Waffle House style, where one of the parents is the server, the cook and the server, and the rest of the family sits on the other side of the kitchen counter, sitting on bar stools. Why would you do that to yourself? And so one of the things that I want to do in my Feng Shui business, my Feng Shui practice, is I want to encourage everybody to go back to the dining table, go back to eating like people, like that want to connect with each other, not casual encounters at a bar. So recover that for your families. Sit at the table, eat at the table. And they actually have found the number one predictor of college success for kids is dinners with the family. And your dinners are going to happen much better at a table than on a counter with stools.
Did you say the number one predictor of college SAT scores?
No, college success.
Success.
Like kids doing well in college and actually graduating, the number one predictor is family dinners. Because when the family dinner is in place, a lot of other things are in place. So do you all have any questions?
It's good, but.
So much.
Too much
something
information?
I think
Yeah.
mentioned that if you have your bedroom arranged with Feng Shui, would you sleep better then?
You
And
would.
if your dining room and kitchen would you digest better? Or is
Yes.
that pushing it?
No, that's exactly it.
Okay.
Sometimes, my former clients send me letters, and they're so thankful for things that happen, and I'm like, I didn't do that. That wasn't Feng Shui, but it was Feng Shui. So do we have time for me to tell a story?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I had this couple I work for, and they sent me a letter, and they told me all their health problems have been solved. They had a lot of digestive problems and just terrible, terrible problems, both of them, different problems, but both the husband and wife, they had digestive problems. And she said it was thanks to Feng Shui that now they were really, really healthy. And this is what happened. When I went into their home, there were two successful professionals with 3 grown professional kids. Do you think they could afford to have a proper dining room set? I think so, right? But they still had the set that bought in college. Their dining table, their chairs, and a bookcase they had in their dining room, it was the one they bought in college because they got married right after college, so they just kept that. And I'm like, get yourself a proper dining set, right? And so they did. This is what happened to them. They went to an Amish carpenter and they said, can you custom design us a dining room with with a china cabinet and stuff that they wanted in a baker's rack? When they did that and the dining table came in, they started thinking of themselves different. They started to think of themselves as people who could afford to pay professionals to do things for them. So one of the things they were able to allow themselves to afford is to hire a nutritionist. A nutritionist did a lot of tests on them to figure out if they were allergic to any foods, or if they were sensitive or intolerant to any foods. And it turned out that yes, there were a number of things that they were eating that their bodies were not doing well with. And so as a consequence of that, their health issues went away. They became super healthy people because their ailments were coming from the things they were eating. And it was indirectly caused by Feng Shui because they were able to think of themselves as people who could afford custom work. And hiring a nutritionist was custom work, as opposed to going to a gym or reading a book on nutrition. A nutritionist is a personal trainer, a Feng Shui consultant. That's custom work that you get. And so I have had so many stories of people who started doing so much better because of that. There are things, if you go to I have so many websites I have a website for my international business, and that's 9stepstofengshui.com. But you can get there with spacearrangement.com. Will take you to my international website where I have a blog and over 500 articles. And you can search there for sleep. And I actually have an article that I have written about the things that could be affecting your sleep and what you can do so that you sleep better. I also have a website, the one that that Rita put on your handouts, fengshuiforus.com. That's my training website. And that is where I have courses for just people who are curious about Feng Shui. And I also have courses for people who want to become Feng Shui consultants. And then my local website is Feng Shui Knoxville. You know why my local business is called Feng Shui Knoxville? Because it shows up when people search for it. When people search for Feng Shui Knoxville, pops up,
or
first
Feng Shui
page.
near me, as long as they're in Knoxville, right?
Yeah. And so, and I was telling you before, one of the things that I noticed when my kids went to school is that I was getting bored. And I was starting to, because a lot of my social interactions were through the kids. As homeschooling parents, we had joined all these groups and we did all these things. And so when that went away, I felt that I was isolated and bored. And this is why I do these talks, because I realized I got to get out of the house. I have to go meet people. And so what I did is I launched fengshuiknoxville.com and to focus mostly on Feng Shui for business, because my international business is more focused on Feng Shui for homes. And so in town, I want to work with businesses and I want to help you get the right kinds of clients. Not just increase the number of clients, but also increase the number of clients that are going to make you the most money. The ones that are going to require the services or the products that make you the most money. Like you are in a HVAC business, I think?
Yes.
Yeah, and so I imagine that you make more money when you sell systems than when you do maintenance. Right? And so if you're trying to attract more clients, you don't just want any client. You don't just want more people doing maintenance. You want more people who are ready to replace their systems. And so when I work with somebody with their Feng Shui, when I look at their website, their shop front, we are trying to make sure that they are set up to call the attention of the people who would be their best customers. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, so we have time for more questions for John or Monty, either one. And thank you all for being here today. And she'll take your testimonial if you feel like doing a little quick video for the meeting itself.
Dr. C's biased.
We'll take a testimonial from him. Thank you all for being here. That's the end of our training today. And I hope you'll come back next month. Next month is April, and that is micro communities, major impact. So you gather your community, your audience around you. You can serve them better, and you can create monthly recurring revenue for yourself at the same time. So join us on April 8th for the next training.
There's a lot going on that week. That first full week.
Good stuff, you guys. Thanks, everybody, for coming out.